Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So, today we're going to be doing an updated 2024 presidential election prediction as I am out of town and have not done one in over a month or so. And it's very important we analyze this because there has been a lot that's changed, albeit very quietly. We know that we're in a recession now. Biden's approval rating is underwater by more than 20 points, and it's showing no signs of stopping. And Donald Trump is consistently winning the polls in the popular vote. And we're going to be analyzing that. And that's a big deal, by the way, because Donald Trump never led the polls in 2016 or 2020 whatsoever, especially for the popular vote. But right now, Donald Trump is winning those same polls. So we're going to dive into this. I put Kim Reynolds as Trump's VP. I think that she would be an interesting choice for him, given the fact she's relatively decent on most issues, and she's from the Midwest, so that kind of adds something to the ticket. And she also wouldn't be seen as an instant 2028 frontrunner as well, which kind of checks the boxes. Biden, I think, will run. I did a video on why he will run a couple of days ago or so that explains it. I still think he'll run with Kamala because if he drops the first black female VP despite her unpopularity, not going to be a good look among his own party. So do keep all this in mind. So we're going to dive into it and fill out this map, but I have to tell you guys about my good friends over at My Patriot Supply. So it seems like our leaders are trying to destroy America because everything these losers touch turns into a disaster. Pretty soon the whole system will fall apart, and the first thing to fail will be the food supply chain. So do you have enough emergency food to get through a serious long-term crisis where you can't get food at the grocery store? Because most people don't, and they will panic if the time comes. So that's why the smart move now is to get long-term storage emergency food before things go bad, and I highly recommend My Patriot Supply. They've served millions of American families and have over 41,000 4- and 5-star reviews. Their mission is your survival, and right now you can save 25% on a 4-week kit of emergency food that will save the day, probably soon. Order a starter kit for each member of your family, and they'll ship everything quickly and discreetly to your door. Go to preparewithredeagle.com, and you could save $150 on a 3-month supply of survival food. Once again, preparewithredeagle.com. So we're going to fill this map out. We're going to start off with these safe states. We'll fill out these safe blue states first and then work our way onto the safe red states. So California, Washington, these are both going to be safe blue. I think Oregon, you could move that there. I think they'll be closer than they were in the 2020 election because of the national popular vote shift, but I still think that Biden is going to win them by over 10, especially given trends and the fact that they have a lot of their population concentrated in a very Democrat-leaning urban area. So do keep that in mind. Hawaii as well, you could put that in the Democrat column, safe blue. Illinois, New York, and all of these states over here in the Mid-Atlantic region. It is possible that Delaware and Rhode Island could get within 10, like in 2028, especially with Biden off the ticket in Delaware. It's a state that Hillary only won by 11 points. But as of right now, we're going to keep Delaware safe blue, mainly because of Biden being from there. That's where he likes to go fall off his bikes. Maine's 1st district, even though it'll likely be closer, we'll put that one in the safe blue column as well. And we now have to fill out all of the safe red states, everything in the red wall over here, except obviously Nebraska's 2nd district. The Deep South, that's going to be safe red. Indiana is another one. Alaska, can't forget that. And I believe that this will be the cycle where Ohio, Iowa, and Maine's 2nd district, the realignment will continue, and those states will move into the safe Republican column. So now let's fill out the likely states. We could start off with the likely Democrat states, starting off with the state of Colorado. And this is a state that has changed over time. You see demographic change, and a lot of Democrats are moving there as well from California. You know, the misconception is that Texas is going blue because of Californian Democrats moving there. And while they are moving there, transplants tend to vote 50-50. It's mainly a mix of immigration and college-educated whites that were born in Texas moving left. Colorado is a whole different debacle. The Denver area is growing, and it's getting rapidly more Democrat. It's a very heavily vote-by-mail state. Turnout there is, through the roof among the Democrat population. So from that point, I think Colorado, we could put that one as likely blue. And that would add up. So beyond that point, other states that would be likely blue, I'm actually not going to fill out anymore on this map. I'll explain why later as we fill out the rest of the states, because they're not going to be going in that column. So we'll move on to the likely red states, of which there are several actually, and a lot of swing states from 2016 and 2020 that were not exactly likely red, or in some cases even lean red, I believe are going to be likely red because of the economy, because of the national environment, the recession. I don't think Donald Trump necessarily is going to win with like 350 electoral votes, even if he wins the popular vote by 3, because we're very polarized and certain states are still going to vote a certain way. But at the end of the day, I think that he's going to get very, very close to his ceiling if this does hold up. So furthermore, I think that we could start off by talking about the state of North Carolina here. North Carolina is a state that voted for Trump by 4 in 2016 and 2 in 2020. However, I do believe Biden's pretty much maxed out in a lot of the Charlotte suburbs compared to where he sits in suburban Atlanta, because of the fact that the suburbs of Charlotte are more blue collar. And even so, there's a lot of room to grow in a lot of these Appalachian counties as well. Trump isn't even cracking 60 in them. I believe that he'll have to do that, and I think the realignment continuing, I think he's going to run up the score. I think he's going to win North Carolina by around, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 points over Joe Biden at this point. And a lot of those blue-collar suburbs, I think that you'll see the biggest rebound in them, especially compared to some of the more college-educated white-collar counties across the country. Another state that's going to go in the likely red column is Florida. Florida is being currently terraformed into a very solid Republican state thanks to Donald Trump, as well as the leadership of Ron DeSantis in the state of Florida. And as a result, I think that the margin there is going to accelerate. It was 3.5% or so in 2020, and that was in a D+4 national environment. You could potentially be seeing like an R+3. Yeah, I'm thinking that Florida is going to go vote for Trump in 2024 by over 5 points. I think Miami-Dade County is going to flip. I think Pinellas will flip back. I think that, maybe even Duval at this point. I mean, that's not a sure thing to flip back, but I really wouldn't be, necessarily surprised, as well as Seminole. I think he'll flip back some of the counties. He'll keep running it up in the Panhandle, and he'll do very well in Miami-Dade as well. So Florida, we're going to put in the likely Republican column. Texas as well, that's another one. Texas is a state that Donald Trump regressed in a little bit, but not uniformly. Downstate in South Texas, there were ridiculous shifts in the Republican column among Hispanic voters, mainly Tejano Hispanics. I mean, Hispanics in like Houston and DFW that are not Tejano did shift to the right, but it really wasn't by as much. But still, even so, Houston only shifted left by 1, which is a trend to the right by 1, actually, trend to the right by 1.4 compared to the national environment or so, which is important to keep that in mind moving forward, that Republicans could potentially turn a corner in the Houston metro, maybe even in the Dallas metro. There is going to be some buyer's remorse there for Biden for sure. I'm not saying that Trump is going to win the state by Bush margins, because Texas has changed, but I think he could probably win it by his 2016 margin or so, by around 9 points. So put that one in the likely red column. Furthermore, another state that's going to go likely red is going to be Wisconsin. This is one that I think a lot of people, even in the election mafia, are going to expect Trump to win ahead of time before 2024. But at the same time, they're not going to expect him to win it by the margin that he's going to win it by. I mean, there is so much room to grow. And the way that Biden has been behaving in office and the way that the economy is going, I cannot see these counties in the Driftless area stay light pink. Or even some of the counties stay as blue as the blue counties may remain. You're going to see more of a realignment because of the failures of Biden, and Trump is going to peel off more of that disaffected white working class base in the state. I think that you're potentially going to see him win the state by close to 10 points, and I think you'll see that foreshadowed in the midterms here. And I know it sounds crazy, but the counties that are moving to the left are maybe Waukesha and Ozaukee. And Ozaukee's not even that big, and Waukesha, Republicans kind of might be at their floor, given the fact that there is a very sizable white working class population in Waukesha, over 50% of the population. They're going to hold Waukesha. Trump will probably do a little bit better because of Biden's failures. He'll run it up in Washington, but Madison and Milwaukee are pretty much maxed out. And Democrats, I guess you would say, even in a high turnout year like 2020, that's only 24% of the state's population in terms of the electorate. So I really can't see Democrats being very hopeful for Wisconsin. And I think that the Wisconsin Dems are going to take a brutal blow to themselves in the 2022 midterms, which will demoralize them ahead of 2024, especially because Republicans keep winning election lawsuit after lawsuit there this year. So furthermore, I believe that's it for the likely Republican states. I think we could just fill out the rest of the states as well, just at face value, either direction that they may go. But Trump's already at 245 electoral votes. It's 270 to win. So I think you could do the math here about why Trump should win the 2024 election. So we'll start off with New Hampshire. New Hampshire's a state that despises incumbents. I mean, it moved away from Bush in 2004, moved away from Obama in 2012, but not exactly by enough. And it almost voted for Trump in 2016, but then moved away from him in 2020. I think it's going to move back because Biden's approval rating is very low. Third-party voting may increase as well. I think it's going to flip back. It's a very, elastic, swingy state, very, white working class as well. And if Trump has the perfect messaging, especially on foreign policy, which is a big one, he could win up in New Hampshire. So Maine at large is another one. And honestly, at this point, I would not be surprised to see Trump take Maine at large. It just really depends on what happens. If Paul LePage becomes governor again, I'd be more confident about it. I think Biden will hold on to a margin similar to what Hillary Clinton won it by in 2016, but I think you'll see a shift to the right there. I believe the 2020 campaign is going to be more efficiently run. Then you're not going to have Brad Parscale, blowing all of the money away. And you're going to have slightly more competent people in there, and that should easily be enough to, allocate more resources up there to get out as many voters as possible. So do keep that in mind, as well as the fact that Biden is falling flat on his face. So we'll start off with Virginia and Georgia, and then we'll do the rest of the Rust Belt and then the Southwest, with Nebraska second in between because it's sort of like that one state or that one just island in the middle of nowhere that's relatively competitive. So the state of Virginia, I'm going to put this in the lean Biden column. I know Youngkin won it. I think Trump is going to do better in a lot of the rural areas even so. I mean, Youngkin did better than Trump in every county. I think Trump 2024 will do better than Trump 2020 in most counties. I think Biden is screwed up enough to the point where he'll flip back Virginia Beach. And the Virginia GOP is, their brand is improving. They're doing, I guess you would say, a good job so far in terms of getting things together, being more competent than they used to be. I mean, you see Youngkin and Sears and Miares' victories in the state in 2021 is an example of that. I'm not saying that means the state's flipping, but because Biden is sinking nationwide, and the fact that he had everything going for him in terms of Virginia in 2020 and he could only win it by 10. I mean, seriously, a lot of the suburbs up in the northern part of the state probably going to be a little maxed out for him, especially given Hispanic trends. We'll see if those continue, but I think Virginia is going to go for Biden by close to a Hillary Clinton 2016 margin. I think that Biden's going to win it by like 4.5. So we'll move down to Georgia, and Georgia is a state that's going away for Republicans. It's very painful for a lot of people to really process this, but just the changes in the Atlanta metro are real to a large degree. And they are going to continue. They've been happening since 2008 to 2012. You saw the trends. You saw the cracks in the surface there as McCain actually did better than Romney in some counties, despite Romney doing much better nationwide, even though the state of Georgia voted a little bit to the right because of the rural turnout for Romney being a little bit higher. But furthermore, beyond that point, I think that you might see a rebound. You might see Trump do better in the smaller metros or rural counties. That might be enough to get him over the finish line. But still, in some of suburban Atlanta, the shifts won't be as drastic to the left because of Biden's unpopularity, but they'll still exist. I think Trump will win Georgia at the end of the day by a very, very narrow margin. And after that, it will be going the way of the dinosaur. And John Ossoff will sadly likely be reelected in 2026, especially assuming a Trump second term and a blue wave year in 2026. So Pennsylvania is up next. And I believe that Pennsylvania is going to be a state that is going to flip back for the Republicans. Biden, Scranton Joe doesn't work anymore. Mastriano's going to be, doing a lot of election reform up there when he gets in. He's running a phenomenal campaign so far for governor, and I think that Fetterman is going to get embarrassed as well. You can't run a campaign on Twitter. Twitter's not real life. at least not yet. It might be in like 40 years or so. But either way, Trump is kind of at his low point in a lot of these counties like Montgomery, Bucks. Bucks didn't even move to the left that much. And Philadelphia as a city, I think, is going to move right to a certain extent. The white working class voters there, some of the Hispanic voters. And I think that you'll see more maxed out red areas in the western part of the state. A lot of these like lighter pink counties across the T, as they call it, and bordering Ohio. I think these are going to get redder because Biden has just screwed up so much and is very unpopular. And I think in the smaller metros and the more working class suburbs like Beaver County, Washington County, you're going to see Trump do far better than he did in 2016 or 2020. I mean, even so, some of them actually moved a little bit to the right in 2020. I think that'll continue. And the whole northeastern Pennsylvania thing, that wall is going to completely collapse. I mean, Lackawanna County, Biden's last stand, he won his home county by 8? Yeah, I don't even think he's going to win it in 2024. So you could write that down right now. Pennsylvania for Trump by 3. Michigan, my home state, at least one of my home states, the other one being Texas. You see a lot of room to grow for Republicans. The Michigan GOP is relatively incompetent, but Trump won despite that in 2016. And in a lot of the rural areas, there's a lot of work to do, and I think that Biden's unpopularity will give a lot of voters, disaffected voters, a reason to turn out. And in the smaller metros, I think you're going to see that. I think that the smaller counties like Jackson County, Calhoun County, Monroe, a lot of white working class voters there. You're going to see the margins being run up completely. You look at Macomb County. I think Trump is going to get double digits there again in terms of a victory. And also, I think that Biden, he might do a little bit better in Oakland, but that's only because a lot of voters from Detroit are moving there. And that means Wayne County is going to get redder by proxy as it shrinks. I think in West Michigan, kind of a similar thing's going to happen to the WOW counties because Kent and Muskegon are very similar to that. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Michigan is going to vote for Trump again. I think it'll vote for him by around, I don't know, I guess you would say, 2 points or so, maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe more like 3 if Trump wins nationwide by 3. I think you might see that there. So 299, he's already won, by the way, on this map. Up next, we have Minnesota. And Minnesota is just that white whale. Pennsylvania used to be the white whale. Minnesota's the white whale. You just can't catch it. I will say that the rural areas are far from maxed out. I think that Biden might do a good job of energizing enough voters to defect from the Dems for them to do so. I think Trump only got 59% of the vote in rural Minnesota, and he needs to get that up to like 70 or so to take the state in 2024. I don't know if he'll do that. I think he'll get close, but the Minneapolis suburbs are just so far gone. Like Trump might rebound in a place like Anoka and maybe do a little bit better in a place like Scott or Carver, which is going to make the state closer. But I still think that Biden is going to narrowly hold on to Minnesota. I think you'll see Trump percentage-wise get like 47, 48, but that's not going to be enough to win in 2024 in the state. So unless the Legal Weed Party fields a candidate for president there, and that actually might hand Trump the state. I mean, they're kind of causing a lot of problems for Minnesota Democrats right now. So Nebraska's second. I think with the suburban trends and reversion, it is a suburb. Omaha area, obviously, but it is more elastic than Atlanta, for example, because of its rural location. Because of Biden's unpopularity, I think that could flip back. Also, it's been redistricted to be a couple of points redder compared to where it was back in 2020 as well. So do keep that in mind. So we have 3 states left: New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. We'll start off with New Mexico. And this is going to be the wild card of this video. I don't want to make a video without having a bold prediction that might age really well or really poorly, and I think that's going to be a red New Mexico. And you look at the fact that oil is a very, pressing issue in New Mexico. Biden's completely dropped the ball there. And the fact that you have a lot of Hispanic voters and white working class voters there, and it would just be completely primed for the taking. It's very elastic as a state. I think this is one where you might see Ron Chetty win the governorship, the New Mexico GOP start to become a little bit more competent, and then from there, Donald Trump could end up taking the state in 2024. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying this is the wild card pick. You don't go into a video like this far out without making one of those wild card decisions. I could see it happen given certain metrics that we have. So, furthermore, Arizona and Nevada. Arizona, Republicans there, again, it's not just Maricopa County that dictates the state. I mean, that is part of it. A large part is Maricopa and Pima, but Republicans still are in a position to do very well in a place like Pinal, do even better, do well up by Prescott, in Yavapai County, as well as in Mojave County. These are also population centers. Republicans, Trump did in line with 2016 in them, and I think there's more room to grow, as well as Yuma. I think Hispanic trends could help in a place like that as well. I think that Biden arguably sort of is close to maxed out in Pima. I'm not saying Trump's going to get more than like 40% there. I'm just saying that the margin there will be stagnant. And I think Trump will do better in 2024 in certain parts of Maricopa County, such as South Phoenix. I think he might, rebound a little bit in western Maricopa. I think he might continue to falter in Mesa as you see more growth there and some of the Mormon places that really don't like his personal life too much. He probably won't do super well there, but he'll still win a lot of the Mormon voters in the state. I'm not saying he won't, but there is a significant portion of the Mormon constituency that doesn't like him, hence why he didn't do so well in Utah compared to Romney or even McCain. So do keep all of this in mind. I think the state is going to flip back in the 2022 midterms in terms of Kari Lake winning. I think Blake Masters is going to win. And I think Lake is going to really try to terraform the state the way DeSantis did in Florida. So I do think it's going to remain a red state. If she does get in there, I think Trump is going to win it in 2024 by probably around 2 to 3 points or so. So Arizona will make that one red, and Nevada, I'm not going to go on this whole tangent about why the Nevada Dems are dying. I've talked about it ad nauseum on this channel, but Republicans in the state are likely going to be in for a very big midterm sweep. You'll see Laxalt win. You'll see probably Lombardo win. Clark County, a lot of white working class voters there. The demography of it is different than Maricopa County, despite there being some similarities. One county controls the state in terms of a lot of the population. Reno, obviously, there's going to be some pull-up in Washoe County, or however you pronounce that, but still, Clark County is really where you win the state, and Trump did better there in 2020 than he did in 2016, and I think with the Nevada Dems in complete disarray and Republicans doing better among white working-class voters as well as Hispanics, you're going to see Nevada flip. Probably around a 3-point win for Trump or so is going to be in the card. So here you go. 322 for Donald Trump, 216 for Joe Biden. The MAGA revenge tour. He's out for revenge. It's going to happen. It's going to be epic. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below. Comment down below. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below. And join the website and buy the merch. The links are in the description as well. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle out.